This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen!
Ice Bear has exceeded expectations.
Wait, I need to get the perfect picture first.
The bright morning sun had barely risen over the green hills when a moment of fear nearly changed the lives of three brothers forever. A narrow wooden bridge stretched across a rushing river deep inside the forest, and one wrong step sent a small backpack tumbling into the water below. What seemed like a simple accident quickly became a test of courage, loyalty, and brotherhood. In that single moment, three bears would discover that their greatest strength was never their size, their talents, or their dreams. It was the unbreakable bond they shared as family. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, friendship, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel Single Dad Empire. Your support helps bring more heartwarming stories like this to life. It was a beautiful day in the forest. The sky was painted with soft blue colors, and warm sunlight filtered through tall trees, creating golden patterns across the ground. Three bear brothers, Grizzly, Polar, and Bamboo, had decided to spend the day exploring a part of the forest they had never visited before. Though they were very different from one another, they had always stayed together through every challenge life placed in their path. Grizzly was the oldest and most energetic. He believed every day should be filled with adventure and excitement. Polar was quiet, thoughtful, and careful. He often noticed details others missed. Bamboo was cheerful, creative, and full of curiosity. Together, they formed a family that balanced one another perfectly. The brothers carried a small map they had found in an old ranger station. According to the faded markings, a hidden hilltop meadow existed somewhere beyond the forest, a place known for its breathtaking view of the entire valley. The journey seemed simple at first, but as they traveled deeper into the woods, they realized the path would be far more difficult than expected. The forest became denser with every step. Thick vines crossed the trails, and fallen trees blocked their way. The brothers had to work together constantly. When a heavy branch prevented them from moving forward, Grizzly used his strength to lift it while Bamboo cleared smaller obstacles. Polar carefully examined the safest route around dangerous terrain. Alone, none of them could have continued very far. Together, they made steady progress. Hours passed beneath the warm daylight. Birds sang from high branches, and gentle breezes carried the scent of wildflowers through the air. The journey felt magical, yet uncertainty lingered ahead. None of them knew exactly where the hidden meadow was located. The map was old and incomplete. Several paths looked similar, and the brothers soon found themselves standing at a confusing crossroads. Grizzly wanted to choose the left path immediately. Bamboo thought the right path seemed more interesting. Polar studied the map quietly, trying to determine the correct direction. For the first time that day, frustration began to appear among the brothers. Each believed their idea was best. As the sun climbed higher, their disagreement grew stronger. Small misunderstandings turned into larger arguments. The forest that had seemed beautiful moments earlier suddenly felt overwhelming. Eventually, Grizzly stormed down the left path alone, convinced he was right. Bamboo followed reluctantly while Polar remained uncertain. At first everything seemed fine. The trail was clear, and Grizzly proudly led the way. However, after nearly an hour of walking, they reached a dead end surrounded by steep rocks. There was nowhere else to go. Silence filled the air. The realization hit all three brothers at the same time. They had chosen the wrong path. Grizzly felt ashamed. He knew his impatience had wasted valuable time. Bamboo felt disappointed because their argument had distracted them from working together. Polar simply looked toward the sky, where afternoon sunlight was beginning to soften. No one said much during the walk back. Yet something important happened along the way. Instead of blaming one another, they began helping each other again. Grizzly carried Bamboo's supplies when he became tired. Bamboo shared snacks he had saved in his backpack. Polar carefully guided them through rough terrain. By the time they returned to the crossroads, the tension had faded. The brothers realized that being right was far less important than staying united. With renewed determination, they followed a different trail. This path led toward the river where the wooden bridge stood waiting. The bridge looked old and unstable. Weathered boards creaked beneath every step. Below, clear water rushed between smooth rocks. Halfway across, Bamboo accidentally dropped his backpack. The bag bounced once against the railing before plunging into the river. For a moment, everyone froze. Inside the backpack were important supplies, including the map. Without thinking, Grizzly rushed toward the edge. Polar grabbed him immediately. The current below was far too dangerous. The brothers watched helplessly as the backpack drifted downstream. Losing the map felt devastating. They had already traveled so far. Without directions, finding the hidden meadow seemed impossible. Bamboo blamed himself. The cheerful bear who usually smiled through every problem suddenly became quiet. He felt responsible for ruining the adventure. As they continued walking beside the river, sadness followed them like a shadow. Then something unexpected happened. Polar noticed unusual markings carved into several trees along the riverbank. They matched symbols from the missing map. The old explorers who created the map had apparently left signs throughout the forest. Hope returned instantly. Using observation and teamwork, the brothers began following the trail of symbols. Every clue led them farther into unexplored territory. The journey grew increasingly difficult. Steep hills tested their strength. Narrow paths challenged their balance. Thick fog rolled through certain sections of the forest, reducing visibility. Yet each obstacle revealed something beautiful about their relationship. Whenever Bamboo felt afraid, Polar remained calm and reassuring. Whenever Polar carried too much responsibility, his brothers reminded him he was not alone. Their differences no longer divided them. Instead, those differences became their greatest advantage. Late in the afternoon, dark clouds appeared overhead. A sudden storm swept across the forest. Rain poured from the sky in heavy sheets. Thunder echoed between distant hills. The brothers searched desperately for shelter. Eventually they discovered a small cave hidden behind thick bushes. Inside, they waited while the storm raged outside. The cave was cold and dark. Water dripped from the ceiling. Wind howled through narrow openings. As night seemed ready to arrive early beneath the storm clouds, the brothers shared stories about their favorite memories together. They remembered difficult days when they had very little. They remembered funny mistakes that became unforgettable adventures. They remembered moments when one brother felt lost and the others helped him find his way again. The more they reflected on their journey through life, the more they understood how much they meant to one another. The hidden meadow no longer seemed like the most important goal. Being together was. After several hours, the storm finally passed. Golden sunlight broke through the clouds. The entire forest shimmered with fresh rain. Determined to continue, the brothers left the cave and followed the final trail of symbols. Soon they reached the base of a steep hill. The climb was exhausting. Mud made every step difficult. Several times they nearly slipped. Their legs ached. Their energy faded. Yet they refused to quit. One step became another. Another became 10 more. Slowly, they climbed higher and higher. Then, just as the sun began setting across the horizon, they reached the top. The sight waiting for them stole their breath away. Before them stretched the legendary hidden meadow. Thousands of colorful wildflowers covered the hilltop like a living painting. Golden sunlight illuminated the valley below. Rivers sparkled like ribbons of silver. Mountains stood proudly in the distance. The world seemed endless. For several moments, none of the brothers moved. The journey, the mistakes, the fears, the struggles, and the challenges had all led to this breathtaking reward. Yet as beautiful as the view was, something else touched their hearts even more. They had reached the meadow together. Not because they were perfect. Not because they never argued. Not because they always knew the right answer. They succeeded because they never gave up on one another. The three brothers sat quietly among the flowers as the sky turned orange and pink. The peaceful moment reminded them that family is not about avoiding difficulties. Family is about facing those difficulties side by side. As evening light painted the meadow in warm colors, Grizzly looked toward the valley, feeling grateful for every challenge they had overcome. Polar appreciated the lessons hidden within every obstacle. Bamboo smiled once more, knowing even mistakes can lead to unexpected discoveries. The adventure had changed them. It taught them patience. It taught them trust. Most importantly, it taught them that true brotherhood is built through loyalty, sacrifice, and unconditional support. If this heartwarming story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire. Your support allows more inspiring stories of friendship, courage, and family to reach people around the world. Special request: please comment below and tell us about a brother, sister, friend, or family member who has always stood by your side during difficult times. As the last rays of daylight disappeared beyond the horizon, the three Bear brothers began their journey home. The hidden meadow remained behind them, but its greatest treasure traveled with them forever.